My dear brothers and sisters, you all understand that I have suffered a lot of persecution because of my stance on non-violence and the approach to resolving the conflict between Ambazonia and the Republic of Cameroon. There is a lot of drama that is playing out, especially in the run-up to the presidential election in Cameroon, which curiously involves candidates from Ambazonia. I have no problem with that because in my revolutionary life, I recognize the very essence of Pan-Africanism, but I underscore it with a strict requirement of mutual recognition and respect of our separate identities. One of the last interviews I had with Canal 2 International in Douala, I made the point that we had offered to Cameroon government an unusual opportunity that we should go back to the drawing board where they tried to pull a fast one on Ambazonians out of Fumban by drugging our leaders with champagne and coddling from young girls, that this time around, that mischief cannot repeat itself, because from the age of 10, I've been preparing myself for negotiation. I did make the point that if that offer to go fix what was not done in Fumban, in order that we should translate the memorandum of understanding, which was not a legally binding position, that Southern Cameroon, which we now know as Ambazonia, was going to enter into a two-state federation arrangement where the states were going to have equal status. It doesn't matter what the equations are. In the course of my career in human rights advocacy, I came across the constitution, the making of the constitution of the Fiji Island. And it was not about who are the majority, but a balance, inviting more of equity than equality, was the exit point for the conflict and a solution that has turned around to be sustainable. This is what I gleaned from International Alert, which was created by the same person who created Amnesty International. At the time, I remember it was Kumar Pasingi, who was the Secretary General of International Alert, which was specialized in conflict transformation. But what I'm saying here is that there are two one-page reflections that I have written. I'm going to put them up at some point. One is about the Ambazonian predicament, and the other is about the La République du Cameroon predicament. In La République du Cameroon, it is not so much the Cameroonians who unfortunately are gravely brainwashed about who the Southern Cameroonians, now Ambazonians, are and what is their intentions. In fact, the whole policy of Cameroon's external relations has been to misinform the world that we are part of the Republic of Cameroon. But as I speak, the petition that I put before the Constitutional Council of Cameroon, asking them to show me the Act of Union, given that as at midnight on the 30th of September, 1961, there was no Act of Union between Southern Cameroon and the Republic of Cameroon. And notwithstanding the mischievous drama in Fumban, no Act of Union has ever been established. After I had failed to convince them by just talking, I went to court. The Constitutional Council is a court. I've actually come up with this video because I've not been able to sleep this whole night. It's past 3 a.m. now in Washington area. And I just listened to former President Thabo Mbeki of South Africa, who genuinely had been wishing that there could be an intervention diplomatically by the former heads of states to resolve the problem that we are going through. But he has not put his finger on the truth of the matter, which is that we are two separate states. And anybody who has access to him should share this video when I post it with him. I know he's a very genuine gentleman. In fact, the first time I heard of Thabo Mbeki was when I was in law school in Lagos. We, the foreign students within the Lagos metropolis, we met in University of Lagos and received one of the leaders of the South African Revolution, Oliver Tambo. And I wore my Bamenda gown, which is being misnamed now Cameroon gown. And we had a fashion parade, which was part of the fundraising activity to raise funds to help South Africans solve their own problem. I am still having that hope, especially because when I was in Sasi College in Boya, at some point we had to accommodate South African refugees in our dormitory, and we welcomed them truly like brothers. But this is my point. And this goes to Ambazonians as it goes to the people of La République du Cameroon, that intellectual poverty is bedeviling the resolution of a lot of conflicts in Africa. People don't give themselves time to research. You cannot solve a problem without understanding it. The Ambazonian predicament requires decoding. because the real enemy of the Ambazonians are the few Cameroonians who constitute the Cameroon establishment and their associates in the private sector. And worse is that they are not even the real and absolute actors. They are the tools in the hands of the people who conceptualize the idea of disappearing Southern Cameroonians against the law, whether it be international law or local law. Ambazonia stands on solid ground as a legal state entity. And it is a good thing when we rely on the Chinese saying that the palest ink is better than the most retentive memory. Because, yes, the advancement in the media has given us the opportunity to record stuff which the future generation can exploit. But again, when it is written, it is better, and I'm going to publish. I give you up to first quarter of next year, you will have something on my revolutionary lawyering. Because these truths must be told. We owe it as a sacred obligation. That is, if Africa has to unite, some people must not be stifled and dragged into unity. I must walk proudly and embrace my brothers and sisters. I've been reluctant to be talking because our enemies are not in Africa exclusively. Those in Africa are only agents of the real enemy. If at all there is anything like our enemy, it is the resources in our subsoil, which attracts the people who have decided that there will be no peace in Africa, because when there is peace in Africa and there's unity, they will not have light, they will not have heat. You know what I mean by that? You have to decode the predicament of Ambazonia, like that of La République du Cameroon and like that of Africa entirely. As President Thabo Mbeki himself points out, somebody goes on mission from the African Union and is given red carpet treatment. The judgment of the respectable gentleman, former President Thabo Mbeki, says it all. The reception replaced the objective of the mission. But how would it be that way? When African Union, with all the resources that we have, if we asked every country to put in just 1% of what they get from their natural resources, African Union will be a sponsor of other continents and subcontinents. I can give testimony to this because my late father, as Chief Clerk and Paymaster General at PW Yard in Victoria, was requested by his boss to put together some old Land Rovers that President Ahidjo sent to Peking as development support gift. Yes. Southern Cameroon property was taken and given as gift to China. Where are we today with China? Brothers and sisters, we have to rise up. And let me say this little word to our candidates for the presidency who are now doing all sorts of drama, to look for the first amongst equals. Truth about it is that the results of that election are already in print. Mr. Biya, who has just taken his vacation to campaign by social media from Switzerland, knows the results. And all the children and the associates of the establishment who are pretenders to the throne know better than the man in the street that they have no intent, none of them. Anybody who has romance with that establishment, they don't have any intent to solve the problem to the benefit of the common man. When I say this, people say, oh, it's because of this and that. Absolute nonsense. I care about the businessmen who have done their investment, and the politicians are failing to create an enabling, peaceful environment for the businesses to thrive, for their investment to bring returns. I think my advice to the businessmen is that just fold your arms, because I can tell you from my assessment, the evil of bad governance, evidence in corruption, even in the orgy of occultism that is chasing away the good spirit in that community. Is so crystallized that plain liquid called presidential election cannot even start removing the dust particles on the crystals. And I can promise that if the establishment pushes its luck beyond the point, the weakest of the Cameroonians is going to find his back not on the wall but up the wall, and there will only be one thing left: to crash. When La République du Cameroon implodes, it's not going to be funny, because that is an epicenter for the control of the Central African sub-region. And when it implodes there, without the Africans that we are deconstructing the evil that has been established from colonial times and transition into neo-colonial hegemony, everybody, even the colonialists, will regret. I'm not a prophet, but the best thing that could have happened, and which I still advise should happen this time around, the entirety of the population of the Republic of Cameroon, you should go indoors for a week until the elections are over. There are satellites in the air that can have the pictures when they announce the results when nobody went out to vote. This time around, digital evidence has evolved and can be used in courts. We shall use those digital evidence to challenge whatever election results will be proclaimed. I'm intending from 2026 to propose to the Cameroon judicial system that since I'm on exile and I cheated the assassination plan not of Cameroonians, but of the Cameroon establishment. I mean, people I know have blood on their hands. I'm seriously proposing that with my membership of the Cameroon Bar and the membership of the Nigerian Bar maintained, I will reactivate my advocacy exclusively on constitutional matters to contribute to a turnaround in the future of the heart of Africa. I'm 67 plus. In another 2.5 years, I'll be 70. I lost my mom. I didn't bury her. I lost my darling daughter. I didn't bury her. I consider these two people murdered by the Cameroon establishment. As a Christian, I wouldn't murder anybody in return, but I shall hold them accountable. Save the children. I heard somebody say the mothers of those young, inexperienced, untrained boys and girls who are being sent to the war front to be slaughtered with guns that the establishment uses its network to dump in Ambazonia and are being used sometimes by undercover militia that various ministers maintained to sustain the war economy in the Ambazonian region. The day to give an account is not distant. As you diplomatically negotiate the arrest, trial, and incarceration of Ambazonians across the world, your time is coming. Because these societies do not have their consciences as fried to dusty points like the consciences of each and every member of the Cameroon establishment and their associates in the private sector. As I say, enough is enough. You don't need guns. You don't need machetes. Just withdraw. and put your conditions. I can write them for you. Stay home and frustrate these elections. And let me take this singular opportunity and address all the Southern Cameroonians whom I used to consider as expatriates working for Cameroon establishment. If your gun has been loaded to shoot into your own house, you have to rethink. I know some of you who were members of Baha'i, and for the time I knew you, because of your faith, you drank only water. This time around, you are able to easily drug yourself and go to the war zone with several cordons of military protection and pretend that everything is good. I still love you, and I pray for you that you should live long so that in post-conflict reconstruction, your brain that I trust will be redeployed to serve your people genuinely. Let's adjourn for now. I'll be back again. This has been Harmony Bob Button. And when I'm back, I'll have a message for the lawyers that your job is not finished. By that I mean the common law lawyers. And I have my reason for being that selective. Thank you for your attention. Good morning.